He knocked me over. I landed on the dog bowl.
This one's wife. Her real thoughts about Catherine's video. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Just recently, we received the excellent news that Catherine's treatment has ended, and a video was produced. Yes, it was promotional in nature, and why not, showing a family scene of her and Prince William and the children. Many people were delighted to see the content of this video, and it went around the world and gave the internet a good shoeing. Naturally, a number of critics crawled out of the woodwork as to be expected, but they can be ignored. They're just demonstrating their hypocrisy in relation to those members of the royal family. But what was the reaction of this one's wife? Well, I've explained in parts passim how a narcissist would respond to the nemesis creating such a video. But now further information has come our way, produced by that bastion of journalistic excellence, Heat. As always, I'll leave it up to you to determine the veracity of the material, but let's find out if what Heat has to say about this one's wife's reaction fits with that of the behaviour of a narcissist. The report tells us as follows: heart-warming, tear-jerking, triumphant and beautifully shot. There's no doubt about it. Kate Middleton's 3-minute video, which was shared to the Prince and Princesses of Wales's social media last week, was a tour de force. Ostensibly released to update the public on her road to recovery from cancer, it featured gorgeous slow-motion clips of Kate frolicking in fields and on beaches with her family, cozying up to Prince William, ambling thoughtfully through the Norfolk woods, and spending quality time with her parents. At the same time, an emotional audio message played alongside the sweeping images, as Kate told us that she'd finally completed her chemotherapy treatment. The last 9 months have been incredibly tough for us as a family, she said candidly. Life, as you know it, can change in an instant, and we have had to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and road unknown. She went on to explain that she'd be undertaking more public engagements and slowly getting back to work over the coming months, all the while focusing on staying cancer-free. This time has, above all, reminded William and me to reflect and be grateful for the simple yet important things in life, which so many of us often take for granted, she said. As tender moments between the royal couple were caught on camera in an unprecedented display of affection and intimacy, of simply loving and being loved. By all accounts, the video was celebrated across the world, not least by royal fans who not only appreciated some long-awaited happy news on Kate's condition, but also celebrated the chance to see her, William and their 3 children, Prince George, Prince Charlotte and Prince Louis, the loose cannon, more candidly than we've ever seen them before. Within minutes, it had gone viral, and in just a few days, the video had been liked more than 2 million times. The underlying message that health and family are the most important things in life resonated far and wide. Indeed, we are told it resonated as far as Monty Shit Show in California, where Prince Harry and this one's wife were duly relieved to hear about Kate's improved health. As Heat has previously explained, the former royals have been forced to await updates at the same time as the general public. Well, they've only themselves to blame. It's said they only heard about Kate's battle with cancer when she announced it to the world in March, and though Harry has made some effort to have the inside track on royal matters, their continued outbursts about the palace in recent years have made them persona non grata. They may have quieted their complaints over the past year, but with the upcoming October release of Harry's memoir, Spare, in paperback, in which he takes aim at William and Kate as well as King Charles and Queen Camilla, it's no surprise he's still being kept at arm's length from royal matters. But while the news was a relief to the Sussexes, we're told the video also brought up some complicated feelings, especially for this one's wife. After all, she's long believed that she and Kate are held to different standards in the public eye. And, as far as she's concerned, the 3-minute video clip proves just that. Indeed, it was just 6 months ago that this one's wife released her own professionally shot video to launch her new lifestyle brand, American Riviera Orchard. The clip, which was accused of being overly cinematic and pretentious, without actually giving any insight as to what the new brand offered, saw her floating around her mansion in a ball gown, arranging flowers and whimsically cooking in the kitchen. Obviously, this one's wife's video was a commercial venture, whereas Kate's was a far more personal, vulnerable offering. But that has not stopped this one's wife from feeling like she'll never win, and seeing the very different reactions from the public has only fueled her frustrations over the way that things have unfolded. Well, pausing there. The two videos are distinctly different. One is promotional in respect of a brand, one is promotional in respect of a family. One doesn't really make a lot of sense. Why the fuck are you wearing a ball gown in your house? The other shows a family together, which, of course, is the way that the Waleses are, and is done to celebrate the good news about Catherine's health circumstances. The only thing that the videos have in common is that they're promotional, but the content is entirely different. One is pretentious, the other is not. Naturally, this one's wife cannot stand the fact that the video shows a happy and content nemesis and the one that got away. Her envy rises, driven by her narcissism as it seizes on that alongside the ignition of fury. The fact that millions of people watched the video, that 2 million liked it, that no doubt there were hundreds of thousands of comments, many of which will have been favourable, all of that is a response to the video, which is fuel that this one's wife believes that she ought to have received. Remember, she doesn't know what she is, so she doesn't think of it as fuel, but the subconscious is such that she wants that attention. Her narcissism tells her, why does she get preferential treatment to me? That's not right. That's not proper. That's not fair. She cannot comprehend that Catherine is popular because she's kind and decent, because this one's wife believes that she's kind and decent. Therefore, her narcissism tells her, they're all hypocrites. They praise and support Catherine when she's nowhere near as good-looking or as kind as you. The reason that they don't do this for you, the public, is because they're racist and they're haters. Remember, this one's wife narcissism is never going to tell her, the reason people like Catherine over you is she's kind and you're not. She doesn't whinge and you do. She doesn't backstab her family like you do. She doesn't make it all about her like you do. She doesn't tell lies like you do. She doesn't manipulate like you do. The narcissism is never going to allow this one's wife to see all of that. Accordingly, since all of that is removed, that she's blinded to it all, that means that she's left thinking, I'm kind, she's kind. I'm decent, she's decent. Actually, I'm better looking than she is. I do more kind things than she does. She's been doing nothing recently because she's supposedly been ill. And no matter what I do, I'm still criticised whilst people come out and give her lots of love. It isn't fair. When it's put like that, although you might not agree with it, you should start to understand why it is that a narcissist believes that the world isn't a fair place. Because of the skewed perspective through which this one's wife views the world, it is understandable why she reaches the conclusion that people are unfair towards her. It is understandable why she believes that the support for Catherine is prejudicial to her, that people prefer her for baseless reasons, and therefore it can only be that people don't like her, this one's wife, because it's hateful. That's why she plays the victim, because in her mind it makes perfect sense. To anybody else, They see all of this one's wife's faults. They see the redeeming features of Catherine. And that's why they say, well, I like Catherine because of this, and I don't like this one's wife because of these types of behaviours. They evaluate the evidence. But this one's wife labours under a lack of evidence because her own narcissism doesn't allow her to see the evidence which demonstrates why she's so unpopular, which then leaves her scratching her head as to, I don't get it. I don't understand why I'm so unpopular. So the only reason can be is that these people are bigoted and hateful. The fact is that he continues to report that in the wake of Kate's cancer diagnosis, this one's wife and Harry were left eating their words over her alleged icy behaviour towards them. And it's no surprise that the video has sparked a range of emotions, shares Sussex. This one's wife's incredibly relieved and happy that Kate is healthy again. She was so worried about her, says an insider close to the Sussexes. Bullshit alert. Bullshit alert. That's simply not the case. She doesn't give a rat's ass about Catherine because she has no emotional empathy for her. However, her narcissism through facade management wants the world to believe that she cares, and therefore it's reported that she's relieved and happy and was worried about her. She's none of those things. She's a narcissist that can't stand her sister-in-law. But when it comes to this video announcement, her feelings are pretty complicated. For one thing, there's all the guilt that she and Harry are still grappling with. Bullshit. She doesn't experience guilt. They both regret. No, they don't. They just portray regret for the purposes of manipulation. They both regret going so public with their complaints about the family and Kate, in particular. Bollocks. When they spoke out, this one's wife felt they had no other choice. Bollocks. But now that time has passed and her feelings have cooled off, she realises that things have covered and been handled more discreetly. Yet more bollocks. What's actually happening is, oh dear, I'm unpopular, Catherine isn't, so I need to make it look like I'm exhibiting some contrition, and mid-range narcissists are well known for their false contrition, the apparent, I'm sorry, I've made a mistake, when in actual fact, there's no sorrow, there's no real genuine admission of making a mistake. Simply, her narcissism recognises that there's been a backlash against her, and in the circumstances dictates you need to show some kind of contrition, even though it's not genuine, to try and nullify the threat to control. Continues by stating, then there's the double standards that this one's wife has always grappled with, in her mind. When you compare the way Kate's treated to the way she's treated, it's impossible to deny there's a huge disparity. That is true, but the huge disparity is based upon differing behaviours. When she sees the way Kate is adored and held up as a standard of perfection, whereas anything she does is torn down, it does leave her feeling pretty bitter, and understandably so, but I've already explained to you why that is. Despite the obvious differences in messages behind the two videos, there's no denying that, if it had been this one's wife releasing Kate's video, that there would have been most likely more backlash, and that's a fact that still irks this one's wife, naturally, because it's a threat to her control. What makes it all the more frustrating, we're told, is that she knows underneath it all that Kate is in no way to blame for the disparities in attitude towards them. No, she doesn't. She blames Catherine because she will see Catherine as part of the problem, because her narcissism will tell her. To state that, it's nonsense. Anytime this one's wife tries to open up and share her truth, the way that Kate did in her video, she gets slammed. The reason for that? She's unpopular. Why she's unpopular? Because of her behaviour. It feels very unfair. It always does to a narcissist. And like there's simply no way out. But this one's wife knows it's not Kate's fault, and she's genuinely happy for her. No, she's not. She blames Catherine because her narcissism will direct her to do so, and this is just yet more facade management trying to suggest that she isn't, that she is genuinely happy for her. Ultimately, this one's wife's doing her best to ignore her underlying feelings of frustration and resentment, and instead focus on the positive. Kate is healthy, happy, and on the road to a full recovery. The fact is, this infuriates this one's wife. It really does get under her skin. And what's more, her popularity should have no impact on this one's wife, even though at times it really feels like it does. Of course it impacts on this one's wife. The narcissist can't stand that somebody else is more popular than them. Thus, We get the facade management that pours through in this article from the Sussex spokesperson. And the reality is as per I have explained it to you, and you get that because it's all about understanding her narcissism. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.